Well, hi, everybody. It's a great opportunity to catch up with the Orange's newest hire on the defensive coaching staff. He's Vince Kehres, new defensive coordinator, comes to the Orange from Toledo most recently, and a great background coach. And first of all, welcome. And I know you're getting your feet wet in a hurry here.
Well, I can tell you it's exciting to be here. I got in late Sunday night. This is day 4. It's been a little bit of a whirlwind, but slowing down a little bit each day. And everybody's just been so welcoming. Really fired up. My family is fired up to be here. We're excited.
Awesome. So we'll get into a lot of that. We'll look forward to getting to know you better over the course of time. I thought the best thing to start off with is just a little primer for the Syracuse fans on the Mount Union background. All right, your father's a Hall of Famer. Your family name is on the stadium. 13 national championships at the Division III level. You were the head coach there for 7 years and 2 titles. What about that culture, I'm sure you've been asked that before, makes the whole thing work?
Well, there were just so many guys that came through Mount Union over the years that shared a passion for football. And it just was ingrained in us, the core values of the program: work, commitment, loyalty, and hope. And we had a great experience there as players. Those of us that were able to coach there had great experience as coaches. We had great mentors in my dad and Don Montgomery and many others. And it's just it's fun for me to kind of reflect on it now and see where guys are at, how many guys are high school coaches, college coaches. We got them in the NFL. It's kind of a unique thing. I'm really proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, and if you're thinking, well, I know I pay attention to college football, I don't know Mount Union. Yes, you do, right? Nick Sirianni of the Philadelphia Eagles, a former Mount Union player for Vince's dad, Larry. Matt Campbell just took the head coaching job at Penn State. He's a Mount Union guy. Jason Candle, connected there, Toledo, that background. He's gone on to UConn, so that's what's created a lot of this movement here, but those are becoming household names, and there's a little slice of Mount Union everywhere, right? Because people, obviously, they're learning football the right way there and carrying it on.
I think there is. The tree continues to grow and expand every year, and I know my dad likes nothing more than getting out on a Friday night and going to a high school game and seeing one of the guys that he coaching a high school team, and usually their team's pretty good.
Sure, and I bet if you got the 3 we just named at the very highest levels of college and pro football, there's got to be dozens, of course, of high school coaches around Ohio and the Midwest and beyond. So interesting stuff there, and worth diving into another time. So let's talk about the wheels that turn that get you here. Jason Candle, in that case, had been the successful and highly sought-after coach at Toledo in recent years. His name bubbles up on head coaching jobs, and Matt Campbell before that, and so there's a coaching change there. But what about for you as Syracuse comes calling? How did those conversations go, and what was the appeal?
Well, the appeal to me was Coach Brown. We connected. He had sent me a text, and we got on the phone on a Sunday night a few weeks back, and I just immediately felt a strong connection to him, and he was very direct. He had a plan, and he had a vision, and he shared that with me, and that really hit home to me. Some of the things that he said, and we still had several weeks left in the season. Nothing was going to be done immediately, so lots of time to think on it, reflect on it, talk to my wife, talk to my family, talk to my dad. Some other things came into play at the end. Some things were in motion. There was some uncertainty with what Coach Candle was going to do and where that would go. But ultimately, on Saturday, I woke up Saturday morning with, there was a lot of uncertainty on Friday night. I woke up on Saturday morning, I had clarity, and I knew where I was supposed to go, and feel really strongly about that, and I know I'm at the right place.
Was there a moment in those conversations that you recollect that was a specific clicking, or he asked you something, you volunteered, or something that you could tell where your philosophy and approach was messing with his?
Well, as you know, he's a great recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
So
of coaches too, right?
Absolutely, and in having those conversations with him, every time, we'd talk, and then, a day or two would go by and we don't talk, as other things are going on, you get a lot of thoughts in your head. But, every time I would talk with him, it would reaffirm in my mind, this is where I'm supposed to go. I think God has a plan for me. I know Coach Brown's a very faithful man, and I think there's a reason that we're supposed to be together, and I believe that.
So you obviously focused on your own job because the Toledo across the board's in the top 5 in every meaningful defensive category, and that's not in the MAC. That's not at a lower level or group of 5. That's in all of college football. You didn't give up 10 points in a game in the last month of the season. What attributes led to your performance and production this year?
Well, the biggest thing to me about defensive football is you have to play together. The players have to be together. So the mantra that I use is 11 as one. And I think that starts with the coaches. The coaches have to trust each other. There's got to be strong relationships there because the players, they know if they don't. They see through that. So I think the coaches have to trust each other. From there, the players have to trust the coaches. And that leads to the players trust each other. And they believe in the vision. They believe in where they're headed. They believe they're being developed, and playing together, seeing guys play together and play really hard and communicate, that's very rewarding. But that's what we were able to do at Toledo. When I got there 6 years ago, I said, look, I think we can build an elite defense at Toledo. I know you guys are, not there right now, and we got a lot of work to do, but I think we can. And to be able to stack pretty good years together and then ultimately get to a year where, we're right up there with some of the best defenses in the country, it feels good.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and it's always been from the outside looking at the MAC, the impression is these schools are pretty much similar, that the talent level is not significantly different from the top end of the league to the bottom. It really does come down to how well do you coach them up. And Division III and Mount Union may be something similar to that. Did you feel that in the league? And when we see the numbers and the level that you got Toledo to in these last couple of years, I mean, that's obviously a product of what you were able to implement.
Absolutely. And Coach Candle's philosophy at Toledo was we have to be a developmental program. We have to do a great job of developing guys. Everyone had 85 scholarships, and you can't. At Mount, we used to try to stockpile as many good players as we can. We didn't have a scholarship limit, and let them sort it out, let them compete. Let's really find out who loves football and who's going to do the work and compete. You only have so many, so you got to do a great job of identifying the right guys. Okay, and then you have to have a great plan for their development, and then they have to own their development. They have to buy into it and own their development. And we were able to do that at Toledo, and I think because of the development piece, the players knew they were being developed. They had great relationships with their coaches, and that started with Coach Candle. He was very much a player's coach, but we were able to keep our players for the most part, and they were able to leave Toledo and go on and play in the National Football League, which is really special to see.
Right. Pro scouts are going to find good players that are taught the right way and excel in that environment to perform in the NFL. A couple of the things that we're always curious about. You've obviously had other opportunities here in recent years. So, what is the timing related to a jump now? And what I'm really curious about is when you do take on a new job, how you evaluate what you have and where you first start.
Well, I've really only coached at 3 places. And, when I made the decision to leave Mount Union, that was a difficult decision. That was home. I'd lived there all 44 years of my life at that time. But, I had some boxes in my head, if I ever were to leave, what those boxes were. And the opportunity to go to Toledo checked those boxes. And I've been there for several years now, and people reach out, would you be interested in this? Would you be interested in that? I start to formulate in my head, what are the boxes and what is the next opportunity that would really interest me? And when I first started talking with Coach Brown, it was becoming more obvious to me as we had conversations that this was a place that was going to check boxes for me, and really this is what I was looking for. I want to work for people that are great people first and foremost. I want to have great relationships. I spent 20 years coaching with my dad. Yeah. You were literally related.
Yeah.
So to be a part of a coaching staff that feels like family, and you have those close relationships, that's really important to me. And it felt like that's going to be the case here.
Yeah, exciting stuff. So you've obviously been getting your feet wet, not only in getting used to the community, but watching a lot of film, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a little bit of a head start thinking about Syracuse at the tail end of the year, I know you've seen the Notre Dame game and you've seen the Boston College game and you've seen some other things. So what's your assessment of what there is here to work with?
Well, I think first and foremost, there's good young men. I got a chance to interact with them early part of the week, and I got a chance to have a unit meeting with the defensive players and meet them. I sat over here the other night and had dinner and sat with 3 players and got a chance to really get to know them a little bit. And there's good young men, and I think that should be the starting point in recruiting always, and that's been evident to me. And I think there's young men that value education. From talking with them and how are your grades, what are you studying? And I know that's a really important piece here. And it seems that our young men here appreciate that, And then third, I want to coach men that are passionate about football. Mm-hmm. Just walking through the hall here, I saw Franny Brown. He's going down to get some long snaps in. This is probably an off day, and he's going to get some work in. So, I know there's a lot of young men here that are passionate about football. But what kind of jumped out to me is, man, there's some talent, and there's some young talent. There's some guys that are playing right now as young players, and boy, having the opportunity to work with them and develop them and help them take the next step, that excited me.
Yeah, you got freshman All-American at middle linebacker, you got freshman All-American type at corner, and a lot of exciting stuff there. Last thing is just kind of the thought, and you're thinking about checking boxes and the visualization of all of this is, look, Kehres Stadium, I'm sure is awesome, but it holds 6,000 people, right? Your typical MAC game, maybe 3 or 4 times that, right?
That's right.
What do you see when you're here at home, third down, Syracuse at home against whomever in the dome and 45, 50,000 people there? What excites you about that?
Well, from a defensive philosophy standpoint, I think you got to stop the run. I think you got to really try to win the money downs, the third downs and the fourth downs, and I think you got to play together. So the louder that crowd is cheering on third and fourth down, the harder it is for that offense to execute. So I can't wait to experience that.
Well, it's exciting, Coach. Thanks for the time here. Welcome to town, you and your family, and happy holidays. And enjoy easing into it, and then you'll be right to work here very soon, I know.
I appreciate it.
That's Vince Kehres, new defensive coordinator of Syracuse football.